Okay, students, so I'm not going to be here today, as you can see, and I want to remind you what we were doing in class yesterday. So yesterday we talked about sonnets, and we talked about the rules that sonnets have. We noticed that a sonnet has 3 quatrains and a couplet, so we said that there were sets of 4 lines and a couplet. And then we also talked about the rhyme scheme and what the rhyme scheme is, and that is actually on your worksheet, and you already have this page in your notes too. We also talked about them having 10 syllables per line, and I think this was the most difficult one because some of us were having trouble. My recommendation, as yesterday was as well, is to clap a line first. I like the pretty sunset. And then once you've done that, to count on your fingers. I like the pretty sunset. Okay, so just to double check yourself on syllables, since we said that that was the most difficult part for some of us, I want to show you that you can always go to dictionarycom, and we've used this site in class before, and if you type in a word such as table, for example, just practice this really quickly, hit pause as soon as this part's over, and try it. Practice by typing the word table in, and then I want to show you that you can see how many syllables a word has by clicking a button. So if you look for this syllables button down here, and you click that, you will see that by clicking that, back and forth, you can kind of see the difference, what's happening to the word table. So once that button is clicked and it says syllables, you will notice that there's a dot up here between the words. So if it is a multi-syllable word, it would have multiple dots and it would divide into syllables. So this has tay and it has bull. So to double check yourself always for your syllables, if you're ever doubting, this is a really good way to check, is to go in here and check to make sure how many syllables something has. So we were talking about making sure that we had 3 quatrains and a couplet, the rhyme scheme, the 10 syllables, but we also added yesterday one more rule. And if you remember, the rule yesterday was that it had to have a conflict, and that was going in the first 3 quatrains, and then it had to have in the couplet a solution, or we used the word resolution also, or if it didn't have a solution, it could have a warning, and that goes in the couplet. Okay, and you can go back and look at the poem examples from yesterday that you have on this same PowerPoint that we were using, the one that goes with this slide that you're seeing right now. But what's important to remember is that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, all 4 of those in the sonnet that you will write. Okay, the last part of this lesson here from yesterday was that we had the front side of this worksheet done and we had not touched the back side. So I want to talk about the front side real fast. So if you look at this front side of this worksheet, we basically had practiced these in class where we made a major problem or a conflict, and then we found 3 ways to describe it or 3 parts of it, and then we made our solution over here. Most of you guys finished all 3 of these in class. Some of you did not, and you would have finished it for homework. So we have that part that should be done when you walk in. What I want to talk about next is this back part. So this back side here has a little helpful checklist for each quatrain. Now it doesn't have the first part where it has the 4 quatrains and the couplet because I've set that up for you already on this worksheet, but it does have the 10 syllables and the rhyme scheme and shows the conflict and the resolution. Notice that it also has to capitalize the first word of all sentences. That means if you have a sentence that starts in the middle of a line, like sometimes poems do, that's what you would capitalize. If your sentence happens to be starting over here, then you capitalize that. Wherever in the line you make a sentence, even if that's right here, you start the next word with a capital letter. What I do want to point out is that this is where your final draft should go. So if you are practicing in class, you have a couple of options. You can use notebook paper, and you can do it on your own scratch notebook paper and put your final draft here, or you can do it all on Notability And what you would do is do your draft there, and then you would put your final draft into, print your final draft out and make sure that you have it for class when you come in. So you can have a handwritten draft, which is fine, but it needs to be very nice. Or you can do it in Notability, or you can type it at home somehow and print your final draft out for Monday when you come into class. So in case you need to see the lesson or any parts of the lesson again to refresh yourself, or in case you are absent, you can watch this video. If you were absent yesterday, I have probably already sent you this video yesterday so that you could watch it and get caught up. But it is here. I have put an easy clickable link in the email to get back to this video that I sent this message in as well. And just as a last reminder that your sonnet is due Monday when you come into class, the beginning of class. And you need a printed, typed, or a handwritten version this time. I know that's a little bit strange for us. As long as it's neat, it can be handwritten and I can read it, or it can be printed and typed. You can print it out from Notability, or you can do it in Google Docs if you like to.